Hey, Ryder, don't joke about that. Are we halfway there or not?
No, I don't think we're halfway there.
Oh no, I meant halfway there as in we can use voice in the meeting as in halfway point. Not as in halfway you're done with the project.
Okay. That's much more reassuring.
I'm not gonna do the "Are we there yet" dance. That's not it's not fair.
Yeah, I've been in that car.
No. The "Are we there yet" dance for the. I'm doing that dance for the meeting itself. See, this is very meta.
If it would be helpful, I could repost the LSL function definition to the Discord channel.
That would be really helpful because we all kind of argued over it, and
I think the conversation went off on 3 or 4 tangents. So
we love that. We love our tangents. We love them, folks.
So
It's fun in the chat.
and the LSL functions.
you were coming in kind of hot there. What was that, Darksider?
Do we have an ETA on the LSL functions?
Well, it depends on whether or not I survive voir dire next week. So I've got the function itself, the simulator transmitting excuse me, simulator transmitting the data, and and I am working up a way to feed that into the IK system uh, just before any leap data comes from an external source.
Pretty cool. So is that like a month?
If uh, I'm hoping.
Let's not promise any dates. It's not going to happen in a month.
Yeah. I'm not gonna give a firm date. Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
The next really important milestone is actually getting all these cool parts wired up and having it working and showing that it's actually a really compelling, useful feature. And then we've also got to kind of plan out like, okay, what happens if this is popular and 20 people are doing everything at the same time, or 50 or 80 people in a region. So cool stuff coming along, but it's hard to pin a date on it because there's still some big questions.
I wanted to reassure Dima Fairport here about like I think Leviathan was getting into it. Leviathan, you brought up RT plus MC. You were like, let's divide these things up. These things are related, but the program, the way it's organically evolved here, we're now dealing in real-time animation, like tied into LSL and taking legacy animations and blending them with IK via LSL and stuff. That won't break anything about legacy animations. Everything, it's going to improve on them. It'll allow us to tame them. At the same time, the reason this program seemed to evolve this way is we, the users, brought up that we really can't have VR or mocap without the scaffolding that all the other game engines had that hold up their systems. Like, our characters need to be able to interact with the world meaningfully before we can pick up the apple, so to speak, in VR. Because we can't even pick up the apple in the current game without VR, so how are we going to pick it up with VR, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what they're trying to solve here.
Yeah, and to clarify, you won't need VR to benefit from Puppetry at all. Puppetry will do things like benefit things like fishing minigames and a couple of animations, two-handed objects. You'll be able to play shooting games and see your character in first person and aim correctly. Inverse kinematics will benefit everyone. And yeah, clipping too. Hold hands with other avatars.
Being able to, yeah.
Any kind of camera tracking for any of this.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of missing functionality.
Yeah, I think that comment about clipping was about your mic being too hot, Flippy. But I would say to actually deliver these changes would probably break some things about animations as they currently work in Second Life. For example, I understand that people often like to synchronize dances, and it turns out they happen to synchronize sort of by accident automatically. It's actually a bug, by the way, how your viewer loads the dance animation when everyone's playing. As soon as it gets the dance animation for one person, it applies it for everybody, starting at the beginning, and everyone that you see that's using that animation starts dancing in sync. Whereas if you could actually see someone else's screen at that same moment and they're watching the same people dance, they're all on the other screen, or your friend's screen, they're all dancing in sync, but they're not dancing in sync with your view. There would be a phase offset between the two viewers because they each started at a different time. Things like that would be broken by animation streaming if we got it working. Another thing is, right now the way animations work is your viewer downloads the animation assets and applies them to all the avatars that you can see. If we had animation streaming and someone was in the world in a viewer that did not support animation streaming, then they wouldn't be seeing the same animations that the person is actually playing. All viewers would have to change in order to make the system work correctly, I guess. I don't know how to deal with all that when it comes time to delivery, but first we got to make it work.
Putting a computer screen, like a computer next to your computer in real life and watching two monitors next to each other, this is a very... I used to see this LAN parties where we'd play Counter-Strike or whatever, right? Like a bunch of computers next to each other wired up to a network. we would see latency and differences even in gameplay, but it didn't make the game any less playable. We all had a great time. I don't think that's a worry as much as people think it is.
Yeah, I was just mentioning it as the missed feature of the fact that you all play, all the dances play in sync. That is a missed feature, but I think my understanding is that some people rely on that to get their line dancing parties working.
And then again, we could also get way more interactive and amazing dancing going on with the deeper feature set.
Yeah, the benefits outweigh the minuses, I believe, as well. But I was just mentioning it since someone was worried about things breaking. I think some things will break.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we can say like we can add a bunch of this tech and features and everybody's in-world experience will be exactly as it was. You know, things don't change somehow, but we don't like breaking things, and you know, don't want to destroy the dance machines at a club or anything like that. So, you know, that's part of the whole figuring out the features, how it interacts with current animations and viewers, and you know, how we can add something new uh, without really destroying and causing problems. So I hope we've got lots of cool things to test out and see see how they interact. That's the fun part. Yeah, I don't think I don't think we have no plans at all at turning off any of the way current animations work. You know, we want to add new ways to do things.
Yeah, I think what some people expect, which might not be realistic, is that they're going to get the thing they've always wanted, IK. They've always dreamed of IK, 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 and you know this program can deliver on that. But in return, you need to do it currently through Leap, which I think is a great idea. But a lot of them are like, ooh, I don't know, I don't really want that. I just want the IK, please, thank you. And it's like, you can't get all the things you want with IK without a little bit of give and take. Like,
Yeah, and it's behind all this is there's a really fuzzy request of what people want is fairly amorphous in terms of they want to have really cool fun interactions with their avatar and other people's avatars, and so you can do a high five or you can pick up, you know, reach out, touch the doorknob, and you know, open the door, and things look good and are really easy to make that happen, and you know, the right things happen. So that's um, that's the hand wavy like product pitch of what this could be like, and translating that into the tech and how that combines and how you can trigger the IK to do those very specific tasks of like reaching out and touching a doorknob is the real crazy challenge we've all got. You know, us building the underlying tech, then the content creators and the scripting and all that. Um, but cool project, you know, cool goals. I think it's really exciting that we're doing some stuff to try and make that better.
I think what's really exciting about Leviathan's experiment here is Jenna Huntsman turned in a JIRA, the location constraint JIRA, like at the beginning of the puppetry thing, and it got a ton of commentary from the users. And I remember you guys said, well, this is a big thing with a lot of things on it that are all really complicated, that could all make up their own stories and JIRAs and such. And at first, the answer was we could maybe get one of these things, maybe, if that. But then Leviathan starts, you know, working on this thing. He's like, well, maybe if, with this system we could get more than one thing. You might get a lot of things with this kind of system. That's been the experiment, is to see if they could, you know, you could get a lot of those things, and that's exciting. And I want to see that play out without, like, you know, downplaying. It is an experiment. You know, we got to be patient, see how it turns out.
Well, one of the fun things is that, uh, you know, please don't quote me in a widespread read blog, but you know, the really fun part of working on some of this is that I think we've all found that if we can, you know, show demos and do experiments and give people a taste of what's possible, they get excited about it, and that's when we get the time and the efforts and the help to develop it. So yeah, it's that's what a lot of this is going on, and I think we're getting the pieces together that we can show some pretty cool. People already seen Flare, the motion capture stuff. It's different, and we didn't get to the quality we wanted to, but it certainly sparked a lot of imagination about what's possible, and opened up all these conversations about other animation related things. I have a completely goofy. I can actually demo the FBX, the animation import. But as you can see, if you watch me up on stage here, it definitely needs some work and some.
That's FBX. You imported an FBX file. Cool.
That's an FBX file. Yes, it's a
That's
jogging
good.
animation, and
Rotations are off.
yes, it is coming direct off of the Mixamo website.
Yeah, I recognize
run
that
thing.
run.
Got like
Yeah.
3,000 free animations download. You can download an FBX file, and yeah, I can import it. I can read it in, but yeah, the retargeting and translations and rotations that have to happen are there's a bunch of different variables to get correct.
Really promising. Definitely the direction we got to go with the animation tech in the game is getting it more less esoteric, more compliant with the overall industry.
Yeah, Darksider, what are the can you refresh me where the files you contributed are? Is that attached to a Jira or something?
Have we forgotten about the plugin aspect of this whole thing? How we're using Python plugins to a very unusual thing for Second Life, direct plugins like this. Is there anything more along those lines being talked about at the lab?
Well, the data format, as Leviathan mentioned earlier, is directly a part of that. I'm not currently working on a plugin, although there's. I think if I get my head around the geometry fixes for the animation import, I hope I could get my head around the geometry translations I need for the Connect plugin experiment thing I was working on.
A good one. That's a good experiment to keep working on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the data's right there, but there's a bunch of layers of translation and targeting that have to happen, and I'm slowly learning it through this other stuff.
I would mention that the Leap data input system has been in the viewer for a long time. And basically, it allows you to create events on the viewer. It was originally designed to help us do automated testing where you record your motions, record those all as events, and then you can play those events on a viewer instance. You don't actually have to drive the mouse and click the various menus. So what we added for Puppetry was we handle a Puppets event that has data about what your avatar should be doing. But the Leap input system works for it. It works for any event, or you can write an interface in the viewer that handles new events. So there's a lot possible there, but so you can make plugins that, I don't know, do other things besides animation, but that hasn't been fully explored yet.
going to swing back to something Ryder said earlier. I'm not sure the LSL functions would improve mocap. The two will feed into the same stream. I think they will, because, I mean, how else is the mocap user going to pick up the apple without an LSL function saying, hi, you can pick me up, and I'll track this position in 3D world space or whatever.
Fair enough. Yeah. I was, since my head right now is on just the using LSL to set your position. I was thinking, yeah, it would be annoying to capture every mocap thing and then translate that into an LSL script, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, the guys like Darksider, myself, and others, we see this as all scaffolding in a system. The RT to the MC, right? MC by itself, you've got Kanye West holograms that are dancing around on a stage that warp through the couch. They don't touch anything, you know, it's all fake. But with that RT in the engine, the Kanye West hologram could sit down. I could hold hands with him. Maybe I can get to know him.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's someone who had a Rococo suit at these meetings, and they've been dying to use it, I think.
Yeah, I looked into that. Rococo you can set in the Rococo software, you can set it to stream its data to a local port on the machine, and so if someone wrote a plugin that listens on that port, gets the Rococo data, does all the fun transforms and stuff to make it into the right Puppetry format and feed it out, that would do it.
Yeah, that's how Darksider and us bridged in, was through something. We knew we couldn't make the Python to SL version of it, so we bridged into Blender, and then we could bridge into SL. That was that first time. Of course, we don't want to bridge into more than one program anymore, obviously, but I think as this gets developed further, those Python plugins will naturally begin to appear.
Yeah, well, I think if we had a Rococo Leap plugin, so it basically you can, without bouncing through Blender, you can dance around in the suit and broadcast that into Second Life. I'm pretty sure I can sell that as something we should ship, and it would become part of the regular viewer. Because that sounds
that would be a really good sell.
That's a standalone feature. It's certainly, totally I buy that it's a targeted a small number of people that have a mocap suit, but that's pretty compelling, and I'm sure anyone who's got a Rococo suit might be interested in hearing they could do that.
There might be some things popping up that can be bridges. Steam VR now doesn't require Steam. You can have a little side loader for that. Rococo's thing can talk to it, which is kind of neat. Yeah, so it's very likely we will have things that can do it.
Yeah, a lot of this is the barrier becomes how easy we can make it to set up, and part of the problem with the plugins is encapsulating those. I mean, I know we did it with the webcam one, but it's like monstrously slow to load the full-blown Python, unpack and load the full-blown Python environment for that.
A lot of libraries, a lot of missing libraries.
Yeah, yeah. So
Also, a line of code that didn't have enough time to turn on the camera, so it would crash. That was a big one. Had to bring in another line of code for that.
yeah, so there certainly are bugs in our experiments and some big steps to get there, but I do think there's still definitely a future for mocap and wiring this up, and if we can make something that works well, we can definitely.
It's a long-term goal.
Yeah.
Long term, like I like the idea of it's in that glorious future you guys always kind of hint at. The immediacy, we're getting all these amazing functions that will make SL a more interactive and deeper simulation.
Yep. Yeah, and I echo what's going on in the chat there. If anybody wants to try setting up or hooking up a Rococo suit, and you need any help or ideas from us, please speak up. Yeah, we'd love to hear what's going on. I think.
Yeah. Sorry. Go on, man.
I was just saying, it's late today, but maybe 2 weeks from now or whenever we meet next, I would be really interested in hearing and making sure I'm up to date on the plugins and like the work through Blender and all on that, what state that is actually in and what you can do with it now.
It's a bit stalled. I'll give you a preview. It's stalled.
Okay.
We're mostly all waiting for you guys. Like I've got my eyes on all the different developments going on. Mostly we're waiting on more progress. If you get that LSL code out that we can play with, those plugins will immediately be updated overnight. Like, people want stuff to play with.
Yeah, okay.
You got to give us some candy, that's what I'm saying.
Yep, we're cooking it up.
The next viewer will enable should enable the attachment tracking, so that'll be one piece of it.
All right, I'll poke
Puppetry.
all the ants, all the anthills. I'm going to kick over all the anthills and they'll all start bustling around that as soon as they see that.
Yeah, we definitely want to get a viewer update out. It's been too long. And when I get past some of the contortions you just saw with the demoing the import, I'll at least get that code out into a public branch if people want to poke at it or anything.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that VR gear, I thought mocap was going to be too expensive for a long time, but now it's $250, $300. That's surprising. I did not see that happening.
Well, and it's possibly even cheaper. Speaking of Rococo, I don't know how many of you guys looked at their free webcam-based capture, upload, motion cap. You basically, dance around in front of your webcam, upload that video to Rococo's site. They do the post-processing on it, and you can download that animation into the free version of Rococo Studio and export as BVH or FBX. So that's an interesting sequence there too.
There was, when you guys do decide to play with cameras again, which I don't know when that'll be, but there are a lot of open source, these like anime character programs. I'm forgetting their names now, but they've been mentioned a lot in the chat. I don't know if it's AI algorithms that are doing these things or just pure tracking or something, but we're not far off from a time when we're going to have this whole ecosystem of things. We can all do mocap. So if SL has its stuff on right when they arrive, we'll benefit.
Yeah, it's definitely happening for sure.
It's popping off. Yeah. Yeah. I'll stress, if you guys want to look at a product, Mocopi is a Sony brand. Sony's throwing its weight around now, and when they get into something, they really undercut their competitors. $300, you get full body. Little pucks that apparently they talk to your phone.
Yeah, I've seen some of their videos and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, playing with cameras means mocap via camera tracking. That's what we mean by playing with cameras.
I think we just hit the hour. Thanks everybody for coming again. I guess if there are any last minute crucial things, throw them out. But otherwise, we'll be seeing you guys in 2 weeks and hopefully having some more fun things to talk about.
We always love you guys up there. Thanks for the hard work.
Tree Breeze on the leap stuff. Yes. I'm not thinking. I'm not matching feature to feature with RLV or anything, but an example when this was developed years back, I was doing some work on server-side performance with crowds, and in order to test that, we kind of needed to have a crowd and a repeatable thing. So we developed a test system that basically was bots, and we were running a bunch of viewers and controlling them through the Leap interface. And I had a test region where like 30 avatars would be generated, arrive into the region. They would all like walk over to dance balls and hop on and start dancing. And it was all scripted. I could basically run a command and sit back and watch all this happen. And there we could get repeatable tests to for server performance. So that's a long story saying it pretty much is, some pretty deep hooks into the viewer, and it's like if from the developer level, if someone wanted to add things to that, it's certainly possible. Well, I'm gonna head out. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Time for me to run too.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught here for another 30 minutes, Ryder. We can manipulate all of your free time. Thank you, Leviathan. Have a good one. Good weekend and all that.
You too. I'll talk to you guys later.